بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. This is Stat 101 Major 2 Term 222. Let us have a look to the exam and solve it together. First part is some multiple choice questions. First question, an experiment maybe or may have. An experiment like tossing a coin, you have two choices. Tossing a die, you have more than two choices. So always an experiment has two or more results. A box containing 7 green balls and 8 red balls. A red ball is randomly drawn from the box and then returned back to the box. If we return back to the box the red ball, so we still have 8 red balls and 7 green balls. So the number of balls is not changed. We have 8 plus 7, 15 balls, and 8 of them are red, 7 of them are green. What do we need now? What's the probability that a red ball will be drawn on the second selection? So in fact, he is asking about selecting a red ball from 15 balls. Since we have 8, so 8 over 15 would be the probability. If events A and B are mutually exclusive, well, mutually exclusive means like this. They have no intersection. So if this is A and this is B, probability of A intersection B would be 0. So C is correct. He says, which one of the following is incorrect? Well, if the probability of the intersection is 0, then the probability of the conditional is also 0, because the definition of the conditional is probability of A intersection B over probability of B if it is A given B, or over probability of A if it is B given A. So in both cases, probability of the intersection is 0, means the probability of the conditional would be 0. Probability of the union is 0. No, this is not correct, because it would be equal to probability of A plus probability of B. And this would be 0 only if BA is 0 and PB is 0. So this is not correct in general. In a city, there are 40% females, probability of females, 60% males, probability of males. Out of the total population, 50% are rich, probability of rich. Okay, so we have 3 probabilities. What is the probability that a randomly chosen person will be a rich male? Okay, what is the meaning of rich male? So he has to be rich and male. So he's asking about probability of the intersection. Well, probability of the intersection, since the 2 events are independent here, being rich is independent from gender, okay? So the probability of independent events, if R and M are independent, then the probability of the intersection would be probability of R times probability of M. Well, probability of rich R is 0.15 and probability of male is 0.6. And if you multiply these two by the calculator, you will find that the answer is 0.09. A study by the Saudi Food Authority revealed that 55% of Riyadh citizens like traditional food. So this is the probability of people who like traditional food. 35% probability of people who like fast food. 25% like both. What is the meaning of both? Intersection. So they like both traditional and fast food. What is the percentage of people who like traditional or fast? So what is the meaning of or? Or means union. So he's asking about probability of A union B. Well, there's a formula for the union. It is probability of A plus probability of B minus probability of the intersection. So probability of A, which is traditional here, 0.55, plus probability of B, which is fast food here, minus probability of the intersection, which is 0.25. If you use the calculator, you will find that the answer is 0.65. A car showroom contains 16 Range Rovers and 15 of them are black. Okay, so there are 16 Range Rovers, 15 are black. So we can say that we have 5 black and how many non-black? 11, because the total is 16. So 5 black and 11 non-black. Okay. If 2 Range Rovers are to be selected without replacement, we will not put the car back. Okay. So the number of cars each time will be less. What is the probability of selecting a black Range Rover followed by another black Range Rover? Okay, what is the probability of selecting a black Range Rover? How many black Range Rovers are there? 5. Out of how many? Out of 16. So this is the probability of selecting a black Range Rover. Now followed by, of course, here multiplication, because this is the counting rule, okay, times probability of followed by another black Range Rover. Okay, now how many Range Rovers are there? 15, because we selected one of them. And how many black are left? Well, we selected 1 black, so still have 4 blacks. So the probability would be 5/16 times 4/15. If you use the calculator, you will find that the answer is 1/12. All right, 1/12. Or let me check, 5/16 times 4/15. Yes, the answer is 1/12. Okay, there are 10 rolls of film in a box. 3 are defective. Good. So we have 10 films or 10 rolls. 3 are defective and 7 will be non-defective. Okay. 2 rolls are to be selected without replacement. Without replacement, we will not give a similar question to 6. What is the probability of selecting defective roll? Defective, how many defectives are there? 3/10. Followed by, so times a non-defective rule. Non-defective, 7, but we selected 1 defective, so the number of balls now is 9. Okay, so we will have 7/30. So the answer is 7/30 if you use the calculator. Now, a statistics professor receives an average of 5 email messages per day. Okay, average of 5 per day. This is lambda. This is a Poisson distribution. Even if he doesn't say, but he says here, assume the number of messages approximates a Poisson distribution. So lambda is 5 per day. So what is the probability that on a randomly selected day, so per day, so T here, the number of segments is 1, okay? The number of segments is 1. He will have at least 2 messages. So what is the probability? At least 2. At least 2 means greater than or equal to 2, 2 or 3 or 4. And this means 1 minus probability of x less than 2. So 1 minus probability of 0, and we can write it like this, plus probability of 1. So you find probability of 0 plus probability of 1 and subtract from 1. Well, what is the formula of the Poisson distribution? The formula says probability of x equals lambda times t to the power of x times e to the power negative lambda t over x factorial, where lambda is the average per segment in one segment, and t is the number of segments. Okay, so how to find probability of 0? So we will have 1 minus, what would be probability of 0? Probability of 0, x would be 0, so we'll have 0 factorial. T is 1, lambda is 5, so I have 5 to the power 0 times e to the power negative 5 times 1, so negative 5. This is probability of 0, plus probability of 1, so 1 factorial here, and lambda t 5 to the power 1 and e to the power negative 5. Please check using the calculator that the answer would be, you can find the answer, yeah, it would be 0.9596. A small hotel in Mecca has 30 rooms, okay? 10 of the rooms are suites, okay? So there are 30 rooms. 10 of them are suites and 20 of them are not suites. He said here traditional, okay, traditional hotel rooms. What is the probability that first 2 rooms booked during the week of Ramadan are both suites if the bookings are assumed to be random? Okay, so we need both rooms. We will select 2 rooms and we need both to be suites. So one by one, what is the probability that the first is suites? Okay, how many suites are there? 10 over the total, which is 30 times. The second room is suites. Of course, if the first room is booked, then it's not going to be used and we will have only 29 rooms left. We need another suite. One suite has been also chosen or booked, so the second probability would be 9 over 29, okay? And if you multiply, you can just say the answer is 3 over 29 if you multiply both by the calculator. Okay. Repair jobs arrive at the maintenance facility at an average rate of 12 in an 8-hour shift. This is again Poisson distribution. So lambda is 12 in 8-hour shift. This is the average in 8-hour shift. So lambda is 12 in 8-hour shift. The arrival of the repair jobs follows Poisson distribution. Okay, what's the probability that in a 2-hour period? Okay, now we need to find the probability in the average in 2-hour period. Well, how did he get 2? He divided by 4. So you can divide this by 4 and find out that the average would be 3 in 2 hours. Or you can find T, number of segments in this case. Well, number of segments, how to find number of segments? He wants in 2 hours, so you divide 2 by 8, which you know, okay? So the number of segments here, he's asking about 1 over 4 segments, okay? Because we have the average in 8 hours and he is asking about 2 hours. So this is 1 over 4 of the real shifts, okay? So 1 over 4. So what would be lambda times T? Lambda is 12 times 1 over 4. So lambda times T would be 3, which we found here, okay? So this would be lambda times T. So he's asking about what is the probability? Exactly 3 jobs will arrive at a facility. So he's asking about probability of 3 using the formula lambda t, which is 3, to the power x, which is 3, e to the power negative lambda t, which is 3, over x factorial, which is 3 factorial. And you can use the calculator and find the answer. You will find that the answer is 0.224. A national retailer has tracked customers who visit its website and determined that 40% will make a purchase from the website within 6 months of their first website visit. So this is the probability that the people will purchase, okay? 8 people who visit, or 8 people, this is the number of people, so you can say this is N and this is P. It should be binomial distribution. He said here, use the binomial formula. Okay, who visit the website are selected at random as a sample. use the binomial formula to determine the expected number and standard deviation in the sample who will make a purchase within 6 months. Okay, here, this is the probability of making a purchase. Good. So probability of making a purchase is 40. So the expected number is mu, is the average, and the average of the binomial is n times p. So n is 8 and p is 0.4. So the answer is, use the calculator, it would be 3.2. Standard deviation, sigma, well, standard deviation is square root of n times p times q. N is 8, p probability of success is 0.4. So what would be q? Q is 1 minus p, probability of failure. So it's 1 minus 0.4, that's 0.6. Use the calculator and check that the answer is 1.3856. Calculate the probability of 1 or fewer. Okay, probability of 1 or fewer. So less than or equal to 1. This is in fact probability of 0 plus probability of 1. So what is the definition of the binomial distribution? It is C, okay, of n. N is 8 here. X is 0 times P, probability of success, okay, to the power of X, which is 0, Q, which is 0.6, to the power of 8 minus 0, or N minus X. So this is the probability of 0, all right? Then plus probability of 1 would be 8, 1, and 0.4 to the power 1.6 to the power 8 minus 1, which is 7. And you can use the calculator. C is there and the calculator, okay? So 8C 0 times 0.4 to the power 0 times 0.6 to the power 8 plus 8C1 times 0.4 to the power 1 times 0.6 to the power 7, and find that the answer is 0.106375. I can write it for. Faisal owns a food store at Princeton University. He is investigating the number of food items wasted per day due to inappropriate handling. Okay. Faisal recorded the daily number of food items wasted with respective probabilities in the following table. Okay. So this is the probability of each one of them. The total probability, if you add all of them, you should get 1, okay? 40, 60, and here 72. If it is 1, if it is not 1, then there is a mistake in the question. 0.2 plus 0.12 plus 0.29 plus 0.11 plus 0.15 plus 0.13. The answer is 1. Good. What is the mean number of wasted items? Well, to find the expected number, or the mean is defined to be summation x times probability of x. The formula, summation x times probability of x. So multiply 5 times 0.2, which is 1. Okay. 6 times 0.12, which is 0.72. 7 times 0.29, which is 2.03. 8 times 0.11, that's 0.88. And 9 times 0.15, that's 1.35. And 10 times 0.13, that's 1.3. And then you add all of them together. If you add all of these numbers together, okay, you will find that the answer is 7.2799. Okay, let me check. 1.72, 2.0, 3.88, and 1.35, and 1.3. The answer is 7.28. So 7 point, all of this. What is the probability that the number of wasted food items will be at most 7 per day? At most 7 means he is asking about probability of less than or equal to 7. At most 7. So less than or equal to 7. So where is less than or equal to 7? Well, less than or equal to 7 would be these numbers. So what are the probabilities? The probability is 0.29, this is probability of 7. 0.12, this is the probability of 6, plus probability of 5. You add all of them and find that the total is 0.61. I hope you enjoyed watching the solution of this exam. Have a nice time.